real leadership doesn't start on the outside. It starts within. Soldier Kirsten Vile Harrison, leadership and alignment expert, working at the intersection of mindset, purpose, and executive clarity. Align the mind, clarify the mission, lead you with intention, inside out. Clap. Because strategy without alignment collapses under pressure. Her work is about building leaders from the inside out. Clarity, discipline, alignment. The CJ Moneyway Show. Tap in, tap in.
What's up, my good people? Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show. Today I have on the show Dr. Darnyelle Harmon. How you doing today, Doc?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here, CJ.
I thank you for taking the time out your day in that cold ice capade weather that you have there in Delaware.
Listen.
I'm glad I'm not in that type. I remember back in the day we used to go to Disney on Ice back at the United Center and stuff like that.
That's on my lawn right now. I promise you, somebody could bring some skates and go to town out there right now. It's out of control. Out of control.
See, my balance, I'll be off balance. I'll be the one falling on my backside all the time, trying to get up and keep falling. Hey, so, Doc, let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. From bankruptcy to breakthrough.
Okay. We just going to get straight into it. We not
straight to it.
Straight no chaser. Okay,
let's get straight to it. I got to know the nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying? I got to know how did you do it? So let me ask you, what was the exact moment when you said, I'm done living like this and everything started to change for you?
Wow. Gosh, you're going to take me back. So I feel compelled to share how I ended up in bankruptcy. And so $250,000 in credit card debt is what I had at the time of filing. So I grew up, born in the projects. My parents were addicts. I was fortunate enough to go to college on a full academic scholarship. However, while I was there, I was introduced to a little something called the credit card. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget one of my friends said, "Girl, it's layaway you get to take home." Oh, I knew all about layaway. So I got real excited. And by the time I graduated from college, I did not have any student loan debt, but I had nearly $50,000 on credit cards. I was making up for lost time. I mean, we didn't have. And so there were a lot of things I went without. And I'm even talking about some basic necessities that I went without. And so I put them on a credit card. I could pay the minimum payment. And as long as I made my minimum payment, it was all good. And it just started spiraling out of control as I graduated from college and, became an adult out in the working world, just to continue to meet the basic needs. The job that I took when I graduated, and this is 1997, I made $19,038 a year. And it wasn't enough. Not even to live. Like, I wasn't trying to keep up with the Joneses. I was just trying to keep up. And so it got put on credit cards. And then, friends would have a need. And so I would put it on credit cards. And I wanted to go on vacation. So I would put it on a credit card. And I would just put everything on a credit card. And before I knew it, it had amassed to $250,000. Now, all along, you know how credit cards work, right? Mm-hmm. You get a limit. You manage that well. You make your payments on time. As soon as you get to the point where you are at your limit or very close to, what do? They give you a credit line increase, right? So over time, I'm just continuing to live into all of that. And it got to the point where I could no longer rob Peter to pay Paul. I couldn't keep up with it anymore. And so I didn't want to do it. I was very embarrassed. I worked in a credit card company. How dare it get this bad, right? What kind of fool am I? All the negative self-talk. But I just got to the point where it was the only thing left to do was to file the bankruptcy. And what I knew was that, okay, I'm going to take this out, right? I'm going to do it and I'm going to heat it so that I never experience this again. And so as I was in bankruptcy court and the bankruptcy trustee gave me, I think it was an ultimatum, like it was a requirement in order for my bankruptcy to be discharged that I needed to take a financial literacy course. And that was the moment, CJ, that everything changed for me. I started to learn not just the normality of money, like what to do with it and how to budget a checkbook and all of that and how money worked, but also the spirituality and the science of money, the energy of money. And it was literally right then. And at the time of filing bankruptcy, I was about 34 years old, that I said, I'm never going to be victim. I'm never going to find myself in a predicament ever again where money is the reason. Like, money is never going to be my problem ever again. And I became a really good steward. I heed of the lessons. I started making better money decisions. I stopped living like a poor person. You know, poor people believe that money is just to pay bills, right? Middle class people believe that money is to pay bills on time so that they can have credit and live beyond their means. But wealthy people know that money was created for them to make them more money. And so I started to allow my money to make me money. And I made some good investment decisions that allowed me within about a year of filing bankruptcy to become a net worth millionaire. And that was just the beginning of the end of that cycle of my life. And so I built a relationship, a loving, affirming, respect-filled relationship with money. And as a result, today we relate to each other like I would relate to any person that I might know or meet on the street. And because of that, the way that I see myself, the way that I see money, the way that I manage and navigate money is completely different. And it has changed everything. I mean, I have an 8-figure net worth today. It would have never happened had I not filed bankruptcy, had I not got myself into the situation where I had to file bankruptcy, but also in making the decision, right? Deciding that, yes, this happened to me once and I'm going to forgive myself and I'm going to move on from this. And I'm going to learn the lessons I need to learn so that this never is my story ever again. So that when I'm on a show like the CJ Moneyway Show, I am talking about it from the point of victor, not victim. And I am allowing the success clues and the gems that I learned along the way to become a beacon of light for those who may find themselves in a similar situation or predicament.
I like that because, boy, did you bring back memories. Now, not that CJ Moneyway got an 8-figure network. Now, I ain't gonna go there and lie about that. But 1992, went to college. And like you say, credit cards. Didn't know, growing up in the household, wasn't really taught about credit or whatever. But I didn't get, matter of fact, doctor, I didn't even get a chance to get to $250,000. I'm gonna tell you what happened to me. Got the credit card, right? That's when the baby blue Jordans came out, the white and baby blue Jordans.
I remember.
And my first pair of Jordans. Went and got me a pair of Jordans. That messed my credit up I did not start getting my credit back straight to probably 6-7 years ago. It's from that one credit transaction, it messed up my credit for years or whatever because I never really even thought about credit. And so when I would go, you know how you go to the store, like let's just say Target or somewhere, or, you go shopping for your lady, Victoria's Secret or whatever. And they say, well, do you want to fill out for a credit card? You'll get this much off and this and that. And I'd be like, yeah, go ahead. Man, it's like they had a red flag on there. As soon as as soon as I do it, it come back like, no. So that's my story with credit. But I have gotten better over time, like you say, knowing how to money management and paying stuff on time and actually learning how to pay stuff off. But, like you say, you were 34, 37 at the time when you really found out. And a lot of times maturity comes when you get older. When you said that, it made me think about it. They say those who are faithful over small things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He'll give much. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. So let me ask you this, Dr. D. You teach that income follows identity. What identity did you have to bury and what identity did you have to birth to reach that 8 figures that you was talking about?
Well, all right then. Okay, so the identity I had to bury was that I was not worthy and that I didn't deserve it, right? I think we all have a story, and what holds us back are the stories that we tell ourselves, right? I could tell myself the story that my parents were addicts, that, we didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I could tell myself that story. And for many years, I had a victim story and my identity was that of victim, right? Like making excuses for not just being a bad financial steward, but just being a mean person, blaming it on someone else, the man, the economy, my parents, like never taking ownership of the role that I played. Yes, it was me. It was Darnyelle Antoinette. I was the one who got $250,000 in credit card debt. Even when I was paying my friend's light bill or taking my friends on vacation, it was still me, grown me, who made the decision. But at that particular point in my life, my identity was that a victim, like something had happened to me and I had every right, because when I was 8 years old, my mom went to jail, or when I was 16 years old, my dad stole my money, or whatever. All of those lies that we tell ourselves, all of those stories that we tell ourselves. But the identity that I've birthed is that I am worthy, I do deserve it, and that I am capable. I mean, I read the Bible, and not just picking it up on a Sunday or a Wednesday if you happen to go to Bible study. But no, I read the word for myself. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm taught that I have the power to create wealth, I'm going to figure out how to execute on the power. And so I am leaning into recognizing that I am the head and not the tail, which sounds kind of cliche, right? That I am the lender and not the borrower, and that I am worthy and that I can accomplish whatever. I Bleav that before I was formed in my mother's womb, God knew me and approved me. And when he approved me, he gave me everything that I would need to navigate this life in the way to live into the promises and the provisions that he had already made for me. Mm-hmm. I just had to adapt, or as you said, I had to birth that identity. And so today, the woman that I am is confident. She is clear. She is focused. She is loving, and she understands who she is, what gifts and talents she has, and how to leverage those gifts and talents out in the world in order to make an impact and to influence the lives of others.
I like that. And you're right. You know, it's not just Sunday or Wednesday. It's a season that he'll put you through where you have to learn it for yourself, not just what the pastor say or whatever. I mean, I went through a season where I was just reading the Bible. At first, didn't really understand it. You know, when you first start reading the Bible. I think when I first really started reading the Bible, I was in Detroit in 2000. And I was reading the book of Job. Mm-hmm. And I was so excited about it, Dr. D. I was so excited about it. I called my mother. I was like, I was reading the book of Jobs. And she said, Corey, it's not the book of Jobs. It's the book of Job. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that started me on a path. You know what I'm saying? Cause I know the Bible say that can't no man come to him unless he draw you unto him. And so one thing that you were saying that really clarified that too was that you're not going to move on in the spiritual or in the natural until you take accountability for your own actions. And that's just bottom line. You know what I'm saying? I can blame this person. Like I got kids. I can blame baby mamas and this and that. But until, like I say, I'm from the home of the late, great Michael Jackson. Mm-hmm. Until you look at that man in the mirror and start taking accountability for your own actions, you're going to always be stuck where you at. And you don't have to be stuck, because that ain't what God meant for us. You know what I'm saying? He like you said, he knew us before we was even born. He already knew his thoughts that he had for Dr. Darnyelle, you know what I'm saying, before she was even brought into this world. And we just go through some things and just got to navigate through it. And we weren't meant to go through it, but since we went through it, I know the Bible say this too, that he also has an exit.
Right. He has
an escape route. Yeah, escape route for us. And sometimes we just got to bump our heads and go through it like Daniel. Not Daniel, but Joseph did. That's my man right there. I love the story of Joseph. Hey, but let me ask you this, Doc. You talk about business ease, not hustle, not burnout. Mm-hmm. What does ease actually look like in real operations?
Yeah, another really great question. Ease is about recognizing that you don't have to overexert, right? I think in this country, in the United States, we got our hustle and grind, honestly, right? I mean, okay, slavery, right? We brought our people over here in order to till the land and the earth. And, you know, even today, when we are praised for something we did well, that praise includes the phrase, I know you worked hard. So we get it honest to Bleav that we have got to have sweat on our brow. We have got to exude and exploit sweat equity in order to have achieved whatever it is that we are experiencing. Well, I would just like to submit that You don't have to hustle and you don't have to grind. There's a way to do it. So what does it look like practically? Setting up systems and operational infrastructure inside of your business, right? I'm called to entrepreneurs. I coach and mentor entrepreneurs who desire to have businesses that generate 7 figures or more in a year. And so when I first meet a new client, I take a look at what they are doing in their business at the time that we meet. And I'm evaluating every area of their business. And I'm looking for the opportunities and the gaps that exist that we could leverage systems and operational efficiency so that they don't have to work so hard. What I find is that many people find themselves doing the same things over and over and over again. And every time they do it, it is very easy to miss a step because they haven't looked for the opportunities for automation. And today we exist inside of a world with ChatGPT and some of the other AI tools that are helping us to automate the way that we think and reason and move through business. But if we can look at what we are doing day in and day out that is producing a specific result and find the areas and the opportunities where we could apply automation, or we could erect systems, or we could identify a software that would help us to do that thing better, then that brings more ease back into what it is that we're doing, right? Gone are the days, in my belief, where we work from sun up to sundown. This is not about working from dark 30 to dark 30. It doesn't get you more results. Like, you could spend 3 to 5 hours a day inside of your business and be more productive when you have the right systems than just being there and being busy. And when you think about those systems, we want our clients to have systems around their general operations, their client management, their financial management, their legal management, their marketing management, their sales management, and then their team or talent management. And so we're looking for what are the things that have to be done day in and day out. Where are the opportunities for efficiencies? Where are the opportunities for delegation? Where are the opportunities for streamlining what needs to be done to produce a result? And then the ultimate goal is to get the CEO of that company to the point where they are spending more of their time working on the business, thinking about the vision and the strategy than they are in the business, actually toiling and doing the work. So it is absolutely possible, but it goes against what many of us were taught to believe, right? I'll never forget when I was coming of age and getting my first job, my dad said to me, when you go and you get this job, you're going to be asked to show up every single day and to work long hours. Do not complain, be grateful, and just get in there and do the work. Whatever you are asked to do, do the work. Mm-hmm. And I think that there was a day and age and a time for that. I don't believe that day and age and time is now, right? I think today we have to be as focused on our self-care and our mindfulness as we are on the work that we are doing for ourselves or for others. Mm-hmm. And the only way we get to do that is if we look for opportunities to integrate ease into our day instead of just going with the grind, because that's what we've always done.
Like you say, we've been conditioned that way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
To think 9 to 5 and retirement and things of that nature to work for, the man. And like you say, I think them days over with. But before I go on, I will have to say this. I was just sitting here listening to you. I will have to say this. Man, I commend you, you know what I'm saying? First of all, because you said earlier when you first started, you said that you came up in the projects and, mom and dad, whatever the situation may have been, but you went to school and got a full ride to go to college. Man, that's what we call it, pushing through, fortitude to get, regardless of the circumstance, resilience, and that's that name of my speech, the resilient mindset. I couldn't even think about it. Mm-hmm. But to push through the circumstances and make something out of nothing, like Tupac said before, the rose that grew from the concrete, or whatever. So I just wanted to commend you on that first, before I went any farther. Because now, even when we didn't know that God was with us and that he was molding us and that he had a bigger plans for us, he was. And now, you had to go through some things, and now it's showing up. Not only do you have 8 figures, but you're helping other people create the same type of wealth. And that's a godly heart right there. Not only to take, because you can take whatever you got and run with it.
Yeah.
But to come back and serve and help others, that's the joy of the whole thing. So,
absolutely. When you've been blessed, you pass it on, right? And I think to learn what I've learned and to keep it to myself is selfish. And, sure, I have areas of my life where I am selfish, where I put myself first, but I don't lose anything by helping other people gain, by sharing what I've learned and teaching, what it is that has made a difference in my own life experience. And it brings me a tremendous amount of joy to look out at the lives of those that I've helped become millionaires and multimillionaires. And it is really, really amazing. And I just get to I just kind of sit back sometimes and I'm just like, man, I did that. Like that was me. And I'm so proud. I'm so grateful that I've had the opportunity to be able to serve and support so many people in that way.
And coming up in the hood, that's what I'm going to say. We came up in the hood, and in the hood, you always hear people talk about player haters. You're a hater. But when you get to a point in doing what you're doing, there's no hater in you. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people say they're not a hater, but really are haters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you can say whatever, but, technically, your actions show that you're actually a hater. You know what I'm saying? But what you're doing to help other people, regardless, you know what I'm saying? That shows that I ain't got no hater. If you succeed, I'm happy for you. I want to succeed, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have helped you do it. You know what I'm saying? So we take the haterism out of the equation.
Absolutely. They say don't hate the player, hate the game. And the fact of the matter is this: I believe that anybody who is hating, they are doing so based on what I call mirror moments. Whenever we see somebody else who is achieving or succeeding and we feel a way about it, it's because the reflection of their success is bumping up against our insecurity. So it's really an opportunity to look inward and say, what is it about me? Because I believe that God is no respecter of persons. And I believe if he can make it happen for Darnyelle Antoinette, he can make it happen for CJ. He can make it happen for anybody, right? Like, we all have the same opportunity to experience the results that we say we want, but are we willing to show up for them? There is a level of work that we all have to do. I don't think it has to be hustle and grind work, right? But I do believe that God will give you more while you're moving than he will if you stand still. I believe that 2/3 of God's name is go, which means you need to be in action. And so you can be moving your mouth, or you could be moving in the direction of what it is you say that you want. And if you are moving, then you don't have time to hate. I don't have time to hate anybody, because I'm out here trying to move to the next level and to help as many people and take them with me as I go. And I also today, I sit and operate from the seat of abundance as opposed to the seat of lack. I may have been born and raised in lack, but I made a decision a very long time ago that while I came from lack doesn't come from me and it doesn't live in me. And so I operate in the auspices of abundance. And every time I have an opportunity to do anything, I'm asking myself the question, what would abundance do right now? And if abundance would take an action that is contrary to the one that I am willing to take or thinking about taking, then I take the higher road and I take the abundant action, because I want to give abundance so that abundance is always coming back to me at all times, right? That's the law of reciprocity. The law of circulation. If you constantly put good out, then good is going to continue to make its way back to you. And I just feel like life is too short to spend your time on anything other than abundance and good. Like, it's just, so you could hate, but why? Like, it doesn't give you anything.
Check out the movement. Family, real quick. Lean in. If you're listening to this right now, then you already know the Moneyway ain't just a podcast. It's a movement. So make sure you tap into everything we building. It's a Moneyway moving music. New tracks dropping every week. It's the CJ Moneyway Show. Global ranked, purpose-driven voices. Moneyway mindset. Daily inspiration. Real talk, no fluff. You can find it all right now on Instagram, YouTube, and everywhere you stream. Just search out some Moneyway. That's where purpose lives. That's where the next level starts. And that's where we leveling up. Together. Now let's get back to the show.
It really don't. Just like the brothers hated on Joseph, but not knowing that they had a destiny in life too. It was called the 12 tribes of Israel. They wanted to kill him, throw him in the well and all this stuff, not knowing that their destiny was tied into his destiny.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people hating, but not knowing that your destiny may be tied into this person that you don't want to see succeed. But that's another thing. And as she said, we're going to move on that. She said, he said, I came to give you life and give you life more abundantly.
That's
so that
right.
is a word to live off of. So let me ask you this, Doc. Why do you think so many entrepreneurs grind for years and still never unlock real wealth? Something that you've been talking about.
Oh, I love these questions. 3 things come to mind as to why somebody would grind for years and never actually get to the wealth. Number 1, strategy or grinding is only going to take you so far. Right? I believe that you have to work on your soul. You have to do the inner work at 3 times the rate you do the outer work. And most people are staying external. They're just trying to move the strategy. Well, there's going to come a point where you're going to hit against the wall. And the wall that you're hitting against is your own belief, your own capacity, right? Your own nervous system of safety and whatever that means for you. You're only going to go up to a point and then you will keep hitting that proverbial wall unless you start doing the inner work to expand the capacity of the wall. So most people they keep their head down and they're doing the work. But if effort made you millions, we'd all be making millions. Right? So that's number 1. The second reason why I think it happens is because people think that they know better. And so they don't get the help that they need, right? The saying goes, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. And so if you think you have all the answers and you know what you're doing and you keep doing it and you're not producing the result, they also call that insanity. And they doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result means you're crazy. So people tend to believe that they have the answer or that they could figure it out and they don't need anyone else to help them. But I believe that if you could do it by yourself, it would already be done, right? The whole reason why we have teachers and coaches and consultants and mentors and all of these people in the world who have figured out how to do something to create a shortcut for you to be able to get to the result much faster is for that reason, because if you could do it by yourself, it would already be done. And then the third reason, I think, is fear. Fear of success is a real thing. And there are a lot of people who are afraid of their own power. And so even though they are working hard and they're working hard to be able to say that they did something that they tried, right? To be able to make the excuse, at the end of the day, they're not going to push past their own limits because the fears that they have are taking up more space and they don't have the ability to bring in what it is that they most want to bring in lieu of that. So those are the reasons that I think why people grind and never get that. I mean, I've seen it happen time and time again. They think that they know everything. I've had clients like that in the early years of my work. I already know that. Well, if you already know it, it would be evidenced in your life. If it's not evidenced in your life, you don't know it. You just heard it before. And there is a big difference. And so get the help that you need by letting someone who has the expertise show up and ease your burden, help you to get to where you're going so much faster. I literally, the saying is, it's hard to read the picture when you're inside the frame. I could literally look at somebody's picture in their frame and immediately notice that it's crooked or that there's a stain on their shirt or that a piece of hair is sticking up. But if you, from inside the frame, think that you have all the answers, then you're going to continue to go through life looking crazy, thinking that you are doing the best that you can just because you weren't willing to help somebody else look at your picture. So I just think we got to recognize that community is really important when we have these big goals that we want to accomplish and get the help that we need without it meaning that we're weaker or anything that could compare to us continuing to remain in that victim state.
I like that. We're going to put a question mark on fear because that's going to be something that's going to go into my next question.
Okay.
But son, you just said, as far as mentorship and coaches, people that know more than you know what I'm saying, or that know the system. And that's been me. I'm 3 years into this podcast and now I interviewed this one guy, Marcus Ogden. He was a professional football player, former football player, started a construction company. We interviewed on both each other's podcasts. We on the same network. So, he kind of like took a liking to me or whatever. Then we had a sidebar call or whatnot. And, basically he gave me the, like, CJ, I want to mentor you. You know what I'm saying? I want to coach you. I think you got a good product. I think, I like what you're doing, whatever. And so now I'm learning. Matter of fact, we 4 weeks in. I just had a call with him yesterday morning, and so now I'm getting the gifts. We're working on my speaker deck and profile and things of that nature, whatever. And so one thing that I've learned about it is the accountability that, because I get homework, you give me homework every week, you know what I'm saying? I got to do this and do that. And, you know what I'm saying? Okay, CJ, yesterday it was your why, your what, you know what I'm saying? And how, like how you doing this. And so I get it. And so you do need to get with somebody that know things more than you do in order for you to take it to the next level, like you say. Because if you don't, and you think that you're doing the right thing, it's called insanity, because you're going to continue doing the same thing over and over again, bumping your head and looking for a different result. And I got tired of that. And so I'm glad that even him, had the compassion to want to help, you know what I'm saying? Somebody like myself. And so that's the thing too, just like you. Now, I'm going to get to that coaching stage one day. I'm going to get there, Doc. I'm going to get there. And so let me ask you, because I think this is a good one. Because I was in this position. Out earning your husband. You talked openly about out earning your husband. How did you two rewrite the power dynamic so success strengthened the relationship instead of threatening it?
Yeah. So the one thing that I always say whenever I'm asked a question, something like this, is that provision is not just financial. I think men are socialized and taught to provide, right? They are to be a provider. And I think we make the assumption that the only way a man can provide is if he is the primary earner. But that's just not true, right? There's spiritual provision. There's emotional provision, right? Like there are other ways to create safety and security for your loved ones outside of money. I think money is the easiest often, but as a woman, and, if you look at the dynamics of how the workforce has come in this world, there are a lot of women who are out earning, and especially entrepreneurial women that are starting their own businesses. They're doing better than their spouses. I don't think it has to be a thing unless you make it a thing. And it's going to require both parties to do the work, have the conversation and the open communication about money, about their relationship with money, the way that they were raised around money, the way that they see and perceive money. Like you're going to have to talk about it and have those conversations, because you can be in partnership regardless if everybody is contributing, however that contribution is happening, right? In our household at the time, although I was earning more, there were things that he could do that I couldn't do that added enough value to us as a collective unit that it didn't make a difference. And I, as a woman, I was never a woman who was keeping score. It was never, this is mine and you didn't contribute. Like it was never, I put in $1, where's your dollar? It was ours. I think that was the collective energy and coming into the relationship and being able to establish that, putting that rubric in place, and then always honoring it, right? And giving each other the space to communicate where we were feeling good and when we were potentially not feeling good about whatever it was that might be going on financially. They say that divorces happen primarily because of money or sex, right? Those are the reasons why relationships break up. And when it is money, it does not have to be for the sake of the money, but it's going to require communication and vulnerability and transparency and being able to become better. I don't care. And I've met people who were born in money, born wealthy or had more, as much as I've met people who, like me, were born in situations of lack and poverty. And what I've found is it doesn't matter whether you came from money or you trying to come into money. The way that you relate to money is really about the way that you relate to yourself. And so if you can see yourself as, confident, as powerful, as adding value, then you can see money that way as well. And you can bridge any gaps that might exist based on the way that you see yourself.
I like that. So let me ask you this, Doc. Who do you think that it bothers the most or had the most trouble with the woman earning more money, men or women?
I don't know. I'm going to go with my gut and it's just my gut. So don't nobody come for me in my DMs if I say something that you don't agree with. I feel like it would be men more than women. And I feel like it would be men more than women because that is often where they seat their identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she doesn't need me for my money, what does she need me for is what happens. And so they tend to internalize their money or the lack thereof as who they are. But we are not our money. Right.
Yeah.
Our identity needs to be separate from that. Right. Anything that could come or go at the snap of a finger, your identity should not be based on that.
Mm-hmm.
That is like trying to build your house on quicksand. Mm-hmm. It is surely going to go down. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if your identity is tied to money, and listen, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. There was absolutely a time in my life where my identity was tied to money. And the fact that I didn't have any, and it gave me, not the best self-esteem and all of those things. As I began and learned who I was and who God created me to be and began to separate myself from money, I actually saw something really interesting happen. My money increased when I took my focus off of money as an identity. It's detaching from any and all outcomes, right? If the only way you can accomplish something is one way and you are not successful in that one way, that makes you a failure. But if you leave yourself open to multiple ways to get to the one thing you want to accomplish, then that means if one doesn't work, guess what? You've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got all these other ways that can still get you to the result. So you're not tying the result to any one way. You're tying the result to a desire and a decision that you want that result in your life. Mm-hmm. And that's where we have to get. And when we get there, then everything really does begin to change.
And I totally agree with you. And y'all can come after me in my DMs. I don't care. Because I believe that it's the man too, as far as, because I talk to men a lot and I've been married 16 years. Mm-hmm. 13 out of the 16 years, I just started making more money the last 3 years than my wife. Mm-hmm. So for 13 years, my wife made more money than me. Mm-hmm. But I never felt like I wasn't the man. Like we didn't have that dynamic where, like you say, where she was hovering over me, where I did this and I did that. And I think, because I've talked to people where they would make their wife push the buggy in the grocery store because they got the money to pay the grocery bill. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she can't pay the bill. Like, come on, man. Like, if we out to dinner, me and my wife, we go out to dinner. So you said that if she paying for dinner this week or this time that we go out, then I should be like, no, you don't pay for dinner. I'm paying for dinner because if people seeing you pay, and that don't make me look like a man. That's something within you, bro.
Yes,
you know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? That's something within you because regardless if my wife pay or not, I'm still the same person that I am.
Absolutely.
I'm still a man. But you know what I'm saying? So it's the man, I think, that had that mindset. I had, I ain't gonna talk about my part, but I had a wedding. Because he was paying, he wanted to be the interior designer and wanted to, come on, man, that's a woman's thing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, let a woman have her moment. And to me, Doc, it's just me. Yeah. I think too many men are getting involved in women activities. That's just my assessment.
Maybe. Like, I think identity is a really tricky thing. It's so powerful and it's so important. And if misaligned, it will cause a lot of havoc. Mm-hmm. And so what you're describing, and, we can change the situations and scenarios, but it's an identity issue, and an identity crisis is going to produce chaos, period. Mm-hmm. And so you have to realize who you are, right? And the best way I know to tell anybody who is questioning their identity, they say, if you want to know the purpose of a thing, go to the creator of that thing. So the only way that you can find out who you are is to go to the creator. And ask him. He will tell you. He's already told you. If you read his word, he will tell you who you are. You can go to the book of Ephesians and you can just read all the adjectives that describe all that he has given you, every attribute that he has made available in you. And then you can decide to indoctrinate them in your life experience. You can decide to embody them and become them. And when you do, the way you will see yourself will heighten so dramatically. You will begin to see yourself the way that God sees you. And all of these little insignificant things that you are allowing to throw your identity to the wind will cease to exist, and they will cease to matter because you will really know who you are, and you won't need the trivialization of trying to take on something that was never yours to own in the first place.
And you know what you saying that, I think it goes back to what you said earlier, that you said it may sound cliche, but that's real. When you said that I am the head and not the tail, above and not beneath. And so therefore, if God has called me to be the head of my household, regardless if my wife making more money than me or not, I am the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, because I'm the protector. Like you say, it's different attributes. It's different things that you contribute to being a head than, financially, period. Absolutely. But if you let that affect you, you let that affect your mindset, because I don't have the money, or I'm not producing the type of finances that I want. Then too, Doc, I'm going to put it like this. A lot of things it's a test. That a lot of people don't know. It's a test, not only for you, but for the wife as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But if I let that one thing affect, area affect my thought process, then it's going to affect everything else. And as you said about Ephesians, now I don't have on the breastplate of righteousness. You know what I'm saying? Now I can't grid myself and stand behind God who's standing before me and standing before my family. You know what I'm saying? So now we letting the fiery darts just tear us all, just tear us apart. And we see that in so many households nowadays. So you say, for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Hey, that's so right there. That's it in a nutshell. So, Doc, only got a few more questions for you. I appreciate you giving us this wealth of knowledge and this 8-figure knowledge. Hey, so where can we find you at? Social media? Where can we find your work? Where can we find Dr. Darnyelle Harmon at?
Yeah, so you can go to movetomillionsgifts.com. We created this special page. If you listen to this interview and I am your cup of tea and you want to figure out how to be connected to me, I have a gift for you. So you can go to movetomillionsgifts.com. And when you go there, it's going to invite you into a bundle of resources that I've created. And it'll also tell you how you can find me on social media and listen to my podcast or anything else that you might want to do to get a little bit more Darnyelle in your life. movetomillionsgifts.com.
Got you. Going to get my gift today or maybe tomorrow. So let me ask you this, Doc, before we get out of here. The $1 million mindset. If someone is listening stuck at 10K, 100K, or 500K months, what mindset shifts unlocks the next tier?
Oh gosh, you have been asking the best questions. So here's what I believe. I believe that 95% of your success is tied to the 6 inches in between your ears, and what you think about, you bring about. And so if you want more, whatever the number is, you've got to be it to become it. So the very first question I would have you ask yourself is, so let's make it 7 figures. What does your 7-figure self, like, who are they? Describe them to me. How do they dress? How do they act? Who did they spend their time with? What do they do all day? Like, you have to get really, really clear about life at that level. What do they no longer tolerate? What are they not putting up with, right? Who are the people they're spending their time with? And I think it was Zig Ziglar who said it first, you become like the 5 people with whom you spend your time. If you are broke, it means all your friends are broke, right? If you want to shift your circumstances, you got to spend time with people who have accomplished and are actively accomplishing whatever it is you desire to bring into your life experience. And you have to decide, it all comes down to the decision that you are a victor and not a victim. We all have had things happen to us. Every single one of us. No one is exempt from life. But the way that we respond to what has happened to us determines what else we get to experience in our life. I say all the time, you cannot have a booming business when you have a busted life. And a busted life is going to be a mindset that is steeped in lack. I said it earlier, whenever I'm presented with an opportunity for anything, I literally ask myself, what would abundance do right now? Our default is to lack. The first answer we want to give whenever we're asked a question is no. We are defaulted to lack. We were born and raised that way. But we don't always have to say no. We can ask the question and make sure that whatever we're being asked at that particular point in time, really sift through how it might serve us, right? So if you want to be at 7 figures, act like you're at 7 figures before you are. The Bible says it's this way. It says, speak those things that be not as though they are, right? There are those who say, fake it until you make it. I don't necessarily like the sentiment of faking it because that's disingenuous, but I do Bleav in being it to become it. So be it. So if you desire 7 figures, what does 7 figures look like? What does 7 figures act like? What does 7 figures sound like? What does 7 figures dress like? Who does 7 figures spend their time with? Be that first. I Bleav that money is mental before it's material. The material will show up, but only after you have done the work and done the paces to have it, experience it, to live it before it ever gets there. So we've got to go before it actually shows up in our life experience. And we can do that every single day. Every day, renewing your mind, right? I say you got to renew your mind just like you wash your behind. I hope you're taking a bath every day. So every single day, do some mindset exercises and tell yourself who you are and Bleav it. You can do mirror work. And mirror work is where you stare in the mirror and you talk to yourself at the level that you desire to be. You talk to yourself as if you are already there, right? The next version of you. It's about making a decision and taking the steps that you know to take in order to incrementally show up inside of that becoming your reality. It won't be all of a sudden a flash of light. No one goes to bed a blunder and wakes up a wonder. It will be eventual. It will be over time. It will be incremental, but it will happen if you put the daily practices in place in order to work on your mindset and to think at the level you desire to live at every single day.
I like it. See yourself there. What it say? As a man thinketh, so is he. You know what I'm saying? You got to think of yourself as a millionaire. But the part that I like even more than all that is this part that she just said. Please, if you're not doing this, wash your butt every day.
Please and thank you. Please and thank you.
That is essential. And so my final question for you, Doc. Legacy and your final word. What do you want your legacy to teach people about resilience, abundance, and purpose?
I love that. When a person thinks back on me long after my son has set, I want it to be undeniably clear that every single day I lived this quote. And this is Irma Bombeck said it. She says in the quote, "At the end of my life, when I stand before God, I hope not to have a single bit of talent left, saying I used everything he gave me." That is my desire. I come full, and my desire is to live and to give from my overflow. My cup never empties. I stay full, but my overflow constantly replenishes because I'm putting it out there. And as I put it out there, more is coming back to me because I'm sowing in good so that I can reap in good. And I really want people to know that she cared, right? Like everything I do it because I care about humanity. I care about financial legacy, and I care about us getting to the point where we get to live the power to create wealth that is our birthright. We actually get to live it out loud and see it every single day so that we can leave something more than recipes and bills to our loved ones when we go. I want us to be able to actually leave the next generation better than they found it because we showed up fully, we took decisive action, and we made decisions in alignment with abundance instead of lack.
I like it. Hey, Doc, I appreciate you coming on the CJ Moneyway Show, dropping these nuggets on us today. Hey, family. That's a wrap on another powerful episode of the CJ Moneyway Show in association with Bleav Network. I appreciate you rocking with your boy. Until next time, keep your faith strong, your purpose loud, and your hustle righteous. Hey, until the next time, it's your boy CJ Moneyway. We out of here. Peace.
Before you go, let me leave you with this. Every story shared here, it's a reminder that your story matters too. Keep your faith sharp, keep your focus steady, keep your vision clear. And if this episode gave you wisdom, hope, or a push forward, share it with somebody you love. Tap in with me on all platforms, Edge Moneyway, and stay locked into the movement, because God's not done writing your chapter. This is the CJ Moneyway Show. Brick by brick. And always. Moneyway.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.
What separates dreamers from industry leaders? Your Brand Amplified uncovers the answer. I'm your host, Annika Jackson, and I have authentic, in-depth conversations with proven entrepreneurs and business experts. Some sharing the exact strategies that grew their brands, others revealing the personal stories behind their success. From digital marketing tactics to mindset shifts that change everything, they're real conversations that bridge aspiration and achievement. Find Your Brand Amplified on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.